Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to another video. This time I'm going to rank the studio albums of Billy Joel. Now Billy Joel, I don't know, he often gets compared to Elton John, which is a little bit unfair. But I can see where the comparisons come from, but the guy was extremely successful, especially in America. He had 3 #1 hit singles with Tell Her About It, It's Only Rock and Roll to Me, and We Didn't Start the Fire. Many other hit singles, and his albums did extremely well too. In Britain his success wasn't as great, although in 1983 with the An Innocent Man album he had a #1 hit with Uptown Girl. But generally speaking, he only had a couple of hits before that, and maybe only a couple after it. And the albums sold extremely well, but not to the same extent as they did in America. I think he's a really good artist, and I've watched a few videos of him answering questions on YouTube from back in the day, the 90s and even the early 2000s. And the guy's got a sense of humour, which I like, and so I like Billy Joel. So he's only had 12 studio albums. Well, he's had 13. He did a classical one, but I don't have that and don't count it anyway. And he hasn't released an album since 1993. And he was asked about this, and he said, well, he's had 12 studio albums, and so has the Beatles, so that's not bad. So as I say, he is a witty sort of guy. So we'll start off with 12 going down to #1, and my least favourite is from 1989, and this is Stormfront. This is the hit single, We Didn't Start the Fire, on it. It's not bad, it's of its time, it has that 80s production to it, and it can be a little bit bland really. But there's some really good songs on this, like the Downeaster Alexa is the best song on it. And I Go to Extremes, although it's overproduced, it's still a pretty good song. And Shameless was a big enough hit for Garth Brooks as well. And funny enough, I saw an interview where he was actually saying when he wrote that song he wanted to make it like a Jimi Hendrix type song, and it was quite witty whenever he found out that Garth Brooks covered it and it became a country song. So it's my least favourite of his. It's okay, it's Stormfront 1989. #11, and it's his last album to date, is The River of Dreams. Again, this is very similar to Stormfront, although it does have the brilliant 50s throwback, The River of Dreams, which I love. And it's got a beautiful song called Blonde Over Blue. But generally speaking, it's similar, as I say, to Stormfront, and there's no other great standouts. The other hit single, well, I don't even think it was a major hit, was All About Soul, which is quite good. And No Man's Land wasn't bad either, but there was nothing really spectacular on this. My second favourite song on this is Famous Last Words, but I believe that was an old song anyway that had been knocking around for years and I could never get on any of the albums, and this is the only album that fit. But it's a great cover as well. I think that was drawn by Christy Brinkley, his then wife. So this is my #11. My #10 is from 85, and that's The Bridge. Again, this is 80s and it's a little bit dated, but there are some really good songs off this. A Matter of Trust I do like, Running on Ice is brilliant, and This Is the Time is a nice song. Code of Silence, which features Cyndi Lauper on vocals, is also pretty good, but a couple of songs like Modern Woman and Baby Grand, they don't do anything for me. And Big Man on Mulberry Street, I'm not keen on it either. I still prefer this over the previous two I've shown, especially for the song Running on Ice, which I think is absolutely fantastic and one of his best of the 80s. #9, and his debut album, Cold Spring Harbor. This wasn't released. It says here first UK release. I don't think this was released in the UK until the early 80s. This is good, but it's piano singer-songwritery. Highlights are She's Got Away, Everybody Loves You Now, and Why Judy Why, Turn Around. They're good songs, but these songs are best served on the live album Songs from the Attic, which is a compilation of songs from his first 4 albums that weren't hits, and it was it's a brilliant live album. I should have brought that out to show that as well. But yeah, I like this, but it's not his best, and he's done much better. So this is Cold Spring Harbor at number 9. I also believe that it was recorded at the wrong speed, and he says he sounds like a chipmunk on it, but it has since been rectified. I don't know. I've got the CD of this and I've got that LP, and I can't tell the difference of either of them, and I don't know whether it's the speeded up version or it's the proper version, the way it was supposed to be. But yeah, it's not a bad album. Number 8, and this is Cold Spring Harbor from, I think, 1974 75. This is follow up to Piano Man. This is the 3rd album, and I think he was struggling a wee bit with material here, because there's a couple of instrumentals on this which are not bad, like Root Beer Rag and The Mexican Connection. The highlight of this is a song called The Entertainer, which I think Sheen Easton did a cover of that, I believe. Los Angelinos, Street Life Serenade are both good songs, and one of my favourites is a very short song called Souvenir. It's a good album, but mid-table for me, and that's my number 8. Number 7, and I'll go with Turnstiles, and this is from 1976. I think I should really have looked this up. 76, yeah. This opens up with the brilliant Say Goodbye to Hollywood, but for some reason the best opener in this is actually the second song on side 2, which is Prelude Angry Young Man, which would have been the perfect opener, and it's one of his best ever. Summer Highland Falls is beautiful, and the most famous song off this is New York State of Mind, which is very jazzy and it's great. Also Miami 2017 or 2017 is a fantastic song too. This is a good album. This is just about before he made it huge. This sold well in America, did nothing here. And another good song is All You Want to Do Is Dance, which is a bit of a cod reggae number, but it's very enjoyable. So that's my number 7. Now number 6, these top 6 are, I'm not going to say head and shoulders above the other albums, but they're a big improvement. And number 6 is Piano Man, with the iconic Piano Man leading this off. It's a great song. It actually is not leading this off, it's the second song, sorry. The first one is like the travelling prayer, you call it, with the sort of banjo-y type music, which is great. You're My Home is beautiful, also on Songs for the Attic, as is the Ballad of Billy the Kid, which is a fantastic song. Really good singer-songwriter material. And another highlight of this is Captain Jack. This is a really strong album, and this is the one that once he recorded this, the record company was demanding he release another album as soon as possible, which is why the Street Life Serenade was maybe struggling a little bit. He was struggling a little bit for material because he didn't have as much, and the record company was on his back. Number 5, and a huge hit in America with a number 1 hit single, It's Still Rock and Roll to Me. This is Glass Houses, and that song itself did very well in the UK too. This is, I wouldn't say it's a new wavy album, but it's got a cleaner production. You May Be Right, it's a great song, very Beatlesque. Don't Ask Me Why is a great little acoustic number. Through the Long Nights, beautiful, and Close to the Borderlines, great number as well. All for Lena is a good song. Sometimes a Fantasy, which was a hit in America, I was never too keen on. But this is a good, strong Billy Joel album, and this gets my number 5. Number 4, and the huge success in the UK, is An Innocent Man. Yeah, this is great. This has got Uptown Girl on it and Tell Her About It. The beautiful An Innocent Man, and the a cappella of The Longest Time. It also features This Night, which borrows, I think it's from Beethoven, the chorus of it, the music of it, and it also has Keeping the Faith, which was a single in America. I've worked out that with all the songs on this, apart from Keeping the Faith, every one in the UK was released as either an A-side or a B-side. But this sold by the bucket load, and this made him a fortune, and quite rightly so. It's a great album. So my number 3, which used to be my number 1, but I did get a bit fed up with it, and I mentioned that in the previous video, is The Stranger. It's still an excellent album. Moving Out, Anthony's song, is fantastic. Scenes from an Italian Restaurant used to be my favourite Billy Joel song, but I overplayed it. Just the Way You Are is beautiful, The Stranger is beautiful, and Only the Good Die Young is great. Fantastic album apart from the last 2 songs, Get It Right the first time and Everybody Has a Dream, which I've never warmed to. But yeah, great album, and it's my number 3. My number 2 is one that I used to think was pretty low down, but I've played it recently and I think it's a really great piece of work, and it's the Nylon Curtain from 1982. The 2 singles off this were Allentown, which I've always loved, and Pressure, which maybe is a little bit dated now, but it still works really well. The epic of Goodnight Saigon and Scandinavian Skies are fantastic, but I think this is the one where he wanted to create his own sort of Sgt. Pepper album, big full production, his big magnum opus, and it does work. I didn't think it did, but it does, and I actually played this again today, and the song like Surprises sounds as if it could actually have been on Sgt. Pepper. It's just a fantastic album. Laura is a great song as well, so this used to be in the bottom half, and it's very close to being my number 1 Billy Joel album, but just doesn't quite get there in the end. So my number 1, and the one I always go to, and again I was never all that keen, and it's only recently that I really do appreciate it, and it's the biggie. It's the 52nd Street, with now my favourite Billy Joel song is My Life, which I think is wonderful. Big Shot I think is a great opener. Zanzibar's a great song, as is Half a Mile Away and Stiletto. They're all really great. Rosalinda's Eyes, great acoustic number. And then you get the big epic Until the Night, which I had on single. Sounds a little bit like An Innocent Man, but it's a fantastic song, and I believe this is one of the very first albums ever to be produced on CD. I'm not sure, it's either that or one of the album ones anyway. And the sound of this is a little bit more jazzy than The Stranger, but this was the follow-up to The Stranger, which was huge in America, and this was every bit as huge as well. So it's a great album, thoroughly enjoy this, and this gets my number 1, and I do like that cover as well. So that's my countdown of the Billy Joel albums from 12 to 1. Yeah, I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. I think maybe it's because he hasn't released anything for so long, and he keeps on touring the same stuff, obviously, because there's no new material. But I also heard that he keeps on writing songs, but he never records them. So that's me for now. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope to have another video quite soon. Okay, now all the best. Bye bye.